We're going to move on to another conflict that continues to rage with very, very tragic consequences. That is in the country of Sudan, where a lot has been happening since the very last show we had of 2023. So in just a couple weeks, quite a bit happening in terms of the Sudanese front. And we are very, very happy to be joined once again by Mossab Baba, who is a researcher on Sudan. Mossab, thank you so much for coming back.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, of course. It's really an honor to have you. A lot happening, but maybe I'll just start here. We've seen Hemedti, the head of the Rapid Support Forces, in a number of different countries recently. There's this Addis Ababa declaration signed between him and Mr. Hamdok, the former prime minister there of Sudan. Potential for a meeting between Burhan and Hemedti. Anyway, the point I'm making here is it seems that, at least in the media, there is a framing that perhaps we're moving towards some sort of sustainable peace or ceasefire. How likely do you think that is? How substantive do you think some of these moves are that we're seeing the past few days?
So I think the general direction of where things are going is some sort of settlement. Now, we in Sudan, like, we're used to not holding our breath for these final settlements and when they would actually materialize. But actually, the cogs are kind of turning really well. I mean, it's not well, but the cogs are turning towards some kind of settlement because like I mentioned in the last episode, these are Bashir's generals actually going to war, and there is an element of the militia being the bigger threat, and the RSF actually being more out of control, way more out of control than the army is. But the reason it's going in that direction is not because these two generals are benevolent or anything like that. It's more because there's a complete devastation of the country. Like I mentioned last time, when you look at the map of how things are carved up between the rapid support forces and between the national army, it's a split of the country almost 50-50, if not a little bit more, ground controlled by the RSF. But you have scary statistics, even, when it comes to entire sectors. I mean, the health sector, for example, is completely gone. It is completely decimated. Many of the professional associations and the unions and the volunteers and the emergency rooms, they've all been screaming this for a while, that the country already had a very fragile, services infrastructure and health infrastructure. And with the war, that's, completely gone. You go to the economic side, it's also completely gone. But that's because the toll of the war has become so high. And 8 months going on 9 months without any meaningful ceasefires or humanitarian aid or anything like that actually materializing. So that being said, any kind of validity of any claims by the RSF and the army of why they're continuing this war and why they haven't heeded to many calls for negotiations and for ceasefires and for things like that is partially because they're afraid of losing a lot of power, and it's not just the political power or the military power confined within the security institution itself. It's more of the economic power as well, the social power, the rapid support forces specifically. I mean, they recruit by tribe. They don't have like an academy or anything that you join in order to be a part of these forces. Hemedti, even in his own words, way before the war, he was saying, very obliviously, like, yeah, we do recruit based on tribes. We go to the leaders of the tribes. We get a couple of hundred people from their tribe. We give them arms. We, a piece of the business and all of that. So through kind of the privatization of the military, and they've kind of perfected and given a green light. Like I said last time, they went and fought for both Saudi Arabia and the UAE in Yemen as mercenaries, and this goes for the rapid support forces and the army as well. The liberation movements haven't been really active in that scene. Some of the Darfur movements have been involved in Libya for example, were fighting for Haftar and stuff like that, and more of like a mercenary outfit. But that's the minority of the liberation movements, whether it's in Darfur or the Nuba Mountains. So that devastation has kind of led them where they have no choice, and people, whether it's leaders in the region over here or the international bodies, they've all been very adamant about pressuring them to come to the negotiating table. Jeddah is gone, but now Addis becomes the new kind of platform for negotiations. But unfortunately, in that respect, also there's kind of a proxy war going on between the UAE and between Saudi Arabia in the region. Even if you look at recent issues in the region right now, like Ethiopia asking Somaliland for and doing the agreement to get the port in Somaliland, that's also, Ethiopia is very close to the UAE. Somalia is more closer to Saudi Arabia, and now Egypt jumped in. So the problem is this UAE kind of with Egypt kind of more being siding with Arabia. This cold proxy war has been going on for a while.